Hello and welcome back to the MMA Split Pick Show. I'm Matt.
I'm Josh.
And yes, again, still no Sly in person, but he has provided his picks for the week. So even though he's a busy guy, even though we're still trying to figure out scheduling and a way to get him involved and how we're going to do it, he's still going to be taking part in this week's picks. He saw me win last week. He clearly thought I had that. I would have creamed these guys. I would have smashed these guys. I would have called a no contest between Dalkus and Kevin Holland. That's how fucking sure I was. He's going to be putting his name into the ring for this one. And looking at his picks, I think there's going to be a little bit of disagreement early on, particularly higher up the card. I think Josh has got some things to say about a couple of his selections. We'll get to all of that and a little bit of news, rounding up from what we touched on in yesterday's show. Let's have a look at the main event, though. The reason that we're here. Mackenzie Dern taking on Marina Rodriguez, two strawweights who are looking devastatingly good in their last few fights, both of which have bounced back from frustrating losses that have led to excellent and really impressive dominant win streaks, where they're just getting better and better. Two completely different fighters as well. We've got the classic jiu-jitsu specialist, Mackenzie Dern, who's working on her hands and improving, against the Muay Thai striking of Rodriquez, who's obviously been improving her ground game. So a classic style matchup. I'm very excited for this fight. I'm a little surprised. I wasn't quite sure if they were going to go in a main event sort of fight night direction for Mackenzie Dern and Rodriguez this early on. But then again, obviously, Rodriguez did very well against Michelle Waterston when they ended up stepping up to the main event. That was a great fight. Both women, keep doing that. Women, be respectful, Matt. Women. Both women really brought it and put on a great main event. And Mackenzie Dern is a finishing machine right now. I think the only one of her wins on her current win streak that she didn't finish is Jeanne Doba, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I'd have to look it up, but yeah. She is just a lethal fighter. She can finish you with her hands. She has got a bit of power, but obviously she is the deadliest submission wrestler, the most decorated grappler in this division, and she fucking looks it. She is terrifying at times. Yeah, man. I don't want to shit on Sly's pick at all. I don't think he's made a bad pick. I was just surprised because I'm going with Big Mac here, and he's going against Big Mac. He's going for Marina.
So what you're saying is that you're going for the Big Mac and he's ordering the skinny salad.
Oh, that's nice. I like that. Yeah. Marina, the skinny salads. Man, she's got fucking hands. But you don't see a lot of flyweight fighters, either men or women, that, consistently rock people with their hands. The few that you do get tend to rise to the top pretty quick. And for sure, these girls have both got a bit of power. Power edge I'm going to give to Marina. Well, everything in a stand-up game, I'm going to edge that way. She's got that clear advantage. This is classic striker versus grappler with a few extra wrinkles because both these ladies are just so exciting and dynamic. I have no idea how it's going to play out. I know what pick I'm making, but there's so many possibilities.
Well, this is what I've kind of been thinking as well. So Rodriguez, long, tall, fights long, knockout power when she needs to, can more than happily has had something like 39 Muay Thai wins before she moved to the UFC, or a really, really good Muay Thai record at the very least. So she knows how to win rounds. She can fight long, she can pick you apart. She's hard to get in on. The question I've got is I look at two fights with Rodriguez, and these are where I'm kind of basing a lot of my thoughts. I almost feel that you could say that we saw this fight back in January because we had Amanda Ribas against Marina Rodriguez, and first round, Ribas dominated her on the floor, used that jiu-jitsu black belt, used that judo to get her there and keep her there, really made a statement. Wasn't able to lock in the submission, but very dominant round. Second round, though, she charges in trying to get that same position and gets knocked out not once, but twice in the same fight, thanks to Herb Dean not reading the situation properly. So I look at this and think, what's Mackenzie done? She's getting confidence in her hands. She's happy to throw, and she charges in recklessly because she thinks as long as I get close and close the distance, I can get a takedown, and I can use my jiu-jitsu. The problem with Marina Rodriguez is that's not an easy thing to do. You can get caught. If you don't get that submission and you charge in and make a mistake, she can put your lights out. The flip side is, though, Mattt Ribas, great fighter, has a win over Mackenzie Dern. Definitely a more well-rounded fighter than Mackenzie Dern. Is it the same level of jiu-jitsu? No. Is Marina Rodriguez going to survive 5 minutes or an entire round with Mackenzie Dern in top control? No, not a chance. And then I look at the Colares fight. You can take her down. If you get through the striking and you get to her, you can take her down. She's long, she's tall. It's hard for her to center her weight in the same way. She fights long. She likes to throw strikes very straight and high. Doesn't go to the body unless she's up close. It's a lot of space to be able to dive in and get it. So in terms of my pick, I'm picking Mackenzie Dern. I'm picking it very nervously because she has a willingness to just charge in. And I don't think Rodriguez is the girl that you just want to charge in on. She will counter you. The flip side of that is that all she needs to do is get her hands on her. And I think the fight's over in 2 minutes. It's like when we were watching, Nina Nunes, when she fought Mackenzie Dern.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, Nina's an amazing striker. But as soon as Mackenzie Dern even got close, I was watching the fight with Sly, I just said, fight's over. He was like, what are you talking about? The fight's over. I was like, the fight is over. All of this that you're about to see, this is just done. And 30 seconds later, she tapped her out. And Nina's experience. Nina has fought some really, really good strikers and good wrestlers and good grapplers. And her takedown defense is considered good. Her submission defense is considered good. She trains with fucking Amanda Nunes. Like, she still didn't have a hope in hell once it went to the ground. So yeah, it's Mackenzie Dern.
That was the return fight, wasn't it? Like she was coming back from a bit of a layoff, though. I mean,
True.
She's still Nina Nunes, but taking no shine from Big Mac.
I'm going Mac by sub. I can't. I'm going Big Mac, and then I'm going Subway. That's the way it's working. It's double trouble. It's double takeaway sandwich burger. I'm such a fan of Mackenzie, and I think that her ceiling is so high because she's so good at jiu-jitsu, and she's got a love of striking. She enjoys it. She's got power. She's willing to put herself in danger to land. You can refine that. You can add the skills on that. She's basically starting from scratch, and she's got Jason Parillo as her coach. That's the perfect guy to be able to take a blank canvas of striking with a willingness to get aggressive and brawl and just refine it and technique and condition it. And then once she gets striking and grappling, she's going to be unbeatable.
Yeah, Jason's a fantastic coach. And more importantly, over the last few fights, we've seen a real change in her whole kind of mentality. You know, she started looking like a flyweight fighter. She got her weight under control. She looked completely switched on. She's looked terrifying, frankly.
So she's a quarter pounder.
Still the Big Mac. Still the Big Mac. You can't miss weight that many times and not get named Big Mac. But that was a different fighter. The Big Mac that exists right now, she is in my mind undefeated, and she's on a collision course for, you know, that top 5. Actually, where's she ranked right now? Is it 10 or?
She's not far away, man. I think she's
maybe she's already at number 5.
I don't know if she's 5, but she's not far off, man.
Yeah, I'm going Big Mac sub.
I'll tell you what her ranking is.
I've got up as well.
Because here's the thing, she's the first name. She's ranked higher than Marina Rodriguez right now.
Yeah, tied for 4th. Mahina there, down in 6th.
I think that's a little ridiculous. I know she beat Jan Dodoba, and Jan Dodoba is as legit as it gets. And Nina Nunes was still highly ranked, even though she'd been off for a while. So that's obviously going to boost the ranking. But really, I put a lot of credit on the Michelle Waterson win and the Ribas win for Rodriguez. Because I thought Hebas was going to have the year that Mackenzie Dunn's having right now. And it didn't quite work out that way. She had a setback and she's had COVID. She didn't get the Angela Hill fight. She's got, I think, Jeanne Dodoba coming up on UFC 267. I'll double check that, but I think that's who she's fighting.
That'd be a good fight.
That's a good fight, but it's not, it doesn't get you to the same place as beating an Angela Hill.
No. Although Hill's got to kind of bounce back after the Torres loss.
That was, but Torres is looking ridiculous.
Yeah, she ranked in 9's kind of a bit weird, but I suppose it's just like a bit of inactivity trying to rebook that Angela Hill fight so many times.
Do you think that she'd be a good match for the winner of this fight? Or do you think those girls are looking a bit higher up the rankings?
I mean, yeah, they should be looking higher up the rankings, but I think Esparza might sit out a little bit and see if she gets the winner of Namajunas Weili 2. Joanna's kind of in the same boat. I think the winner
versus Joanna.
Or maybe I was going to say, who's Yan Xiaonan booked against?
I don't think they booked that because she's coming off a loss. I could see the loser of this fight matching up against Yan Xiaonan.
Yeah, I assume the winner's going to overtake her at number 4.
Exactly. So that's how I would look at it. The problem with Colares Esparza's got, and this is a big one with sitting out, what happens if Weili wins? Because you know what they're going to do if Weili Zhang wins the rematch.
Yeah, Joanna. Oh, well, it depends how she wins. But if Weili wins the rematch, I could see them redoing Joanna instead. Like Weili Joanna straight away, first defense of the second reign.
It depends how it happens. I don't see them going past the trilogy, man, unless they don't want Rose as champ. Because here's the thing about Rose, from a UFC perspective, people love Rose, but she disappears. She's not being the champ for them. She's not being out there and making media appearances and talking and saying stuff. And she's not a Weili Zhang where you're going to get the massive inswell of Chinese fans and audience and having their fighter to get past to get behind who's a champ. And she doesn't have the Joanna, Joanna wears the belt. You know that she's the champ. She's there, she's present, she's a figurehead, she's a poster girl, an active poster girl for the UFC. And I think that there's a part of them that loves Rose, but also looks at her and thinks, doesn't fight that often, doesn't really, do a lot of the extra stuff. And that's fine. She's great. She doesn't have to. But it doesn't mean that if we have somebody who could do that, that we're not going to give them opportunities. And the proof's in the pudding, man. Why is Weili Zhang getting this fight? There's no reason that she deserves this rematch based on her time as champion from previous.
Sells more pay-per-views than Esparza. Or I doubt it's not going to headline a pay-per-view. I don't. It's already booked for
268, man.
Who's headlining that?
Colby versus
Usman. Yeah, I don't think it's even the co-main, right? It's like the third fight down.
It's the
co-main. Okay. Well, it's going to help sell more pay-per-views than Esparza, but I know what you're saying. Maybe Weili and Joanna bring a bit more like clout in terms of like media and pay-per-view, but Namajunas is still a great champion. I don't think they really have any problems with her at all. I think they don't like Esparza.
It's not problems. It's they're not gonna protect her against other people that could be cash cows. But yeah, this is something against Esparza. They don't want Esparza. The MMA math doesn't work out in her favor in terms of getting people behind her. It's very easy to say, oh, she beat Rose Young. She lost to Joanna, who then lost to Rose, and Joanna also lost to weight. You know what I mean? And it doesn't give the same kind of thing. I think as an MMA fan, it's a great fight because I kind of like it when they give the shot to the person who's earned the shot.
Yeah.
I'll be delighted if Derek Brunson beats Cannonier, because even though I don't think he's got a hope, I'm not even being a big fan of Derek Brunson, it just gets to a point where you're like, man, you've earned this the right way. There's just out of decency, just out of a sport actually being a sport that works like a sport. you can't say to Crystal Palace, sorry guys, I know you got to the final, but fuck me, you're boring. We're going to sit you out. Man U, there was a close semi-final. They almost won in that semi-final. We're going to sell a lot more tickets.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they got a lot of love for Rose. They gave her the Andrade rematch, get
True.
back into the title picture. Joanna is a compelling story. I think she's a great person. I don't think the UFC have any problems with her being the champ for a long time. But yeah, maybe Chao Nan gets the loser. I think maybe someone like Tisha Torres gets the winner once they realize that the girls above them aren't really willing to take a fight right now.
Yeah,
that could match up well. I think it's going to be Big Mac. Sly's picking Marina. We're both going Big Mac by sub.
Sly's going Marina by knockout. And we're on to the co-main event. Randy Brown against Jared Gooden. Great fight. Not sure if it's quite co-main event, but then looking at it, they're welterweights. You can't really put Phil Hawes and Deron Wynn there. There are some couple of good names in the two flyweight fights down, but they're smaller weights, so I kind of get it. Randy Brown is coming off a really big, dominant, pretty much a knockout and a submission in the same fight against Oliveira. And he locked that. Was it a standing guillotine he got?
Like a one-arm rear naked choke.
That's
how it's recorded here. But I know what you mean. This isn't like a big glamorous card, but there are some fun fights on this one. Night Train has proven, very hard to finish. I really have a hard time picking against Jared Gooden. I'm glad he's getting a co-main spot. I'm glad Randy Brown's getting a co-main spot. Both these guys had been on a losing streak not too long ago. Actually, no, I'm wrong with Brown. He only had the one loss against Luque, the one loss against Price. He's always sandwiched his losses with wins. He's just had a bit of a mixed bag in the UFC. But yeah, that last fight was impressive. He's beat Wally Alves, Brian Barberena in the last couple of years. I think they're good fighters. I think they're better fighters than Night Train. He's got that power though. His last fight, who did he starch?
What, Jared Gooden?
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
Nicholas Stolzer.
Oh, he's not bad. I can't see past Randy Brown on this one. I think, he had the Luque knockout. The Price one, he just got sucked into a brawl, and that's Price isn't the guy that you want to do that with. He's so long. He's so explosive. He moves really well. He's got sneaky submissions. I think he could be something, man. I think he's had this wins and losses. He's trying to figure out and improve and polish certain things, but he shows improvement every single time. There's no disrespect in getting knocked out by Vicente Luque. Vicente Luque is going to knock out a lot of people in this, or sub out a lot of people, ranked, unranked. The guy's just a really good fighter. So, yeah, I'm going Randy Brown. I'm going by knockout.
I'm going Brown by decision. I think this Sly guy Brown as well.
I'll tell you what Sly went. Sly went, as I bring up his list, he went Gooden by decision.
Oh, batting on the Night Train.
Oh, yeah, Sly's got some bold ones on here. Next up, Tim Elliott against Mateos Nikolao. Nikolao be coming off the win against your boy that just got you back on... Just got you back on side with his last performance, but this was one where he hadn't quite figured things out. And he's taken on Tim Elliott. Now, we know what Tim Elliott is, and Tim Elliott's great. He's the opposite of a James Krause fighter, but he trains with James Krause because they're mates, and it's great. And obviously, he's got a great guy in the corner. With Nikolao, it's hard to say because the Manel Cape, for the round and a half that Manel Cape didn't realize that the fight had started, Nikolao looked good. But obviously, as soon as Cape started, it was a completely different story. So it's very hard to kind of measure him. Tim Elliott's going to be in his face. He's not going to give him time. He's going to be in his face from the moment that the clock goes. He's not going to give up on the first takedown, the second takedown, third takedown, and he's not going to get tired. That's a big problem to deal with when you're still rising up the ranks. I'm going to go with the old boy Tim Elliott to outwork him and get a decision. Very nervous about that one. That's probably my least confident pick so far.
Yeah, putting yourself out there on that one. I'm definitely going with Nikolao. I think Manel Karp can make everyone look bad. And fuck it, that guy, I was bigging him up for a reason. He really is a top tier flyweight. Nikolao, I think, is good. Tim Elliott is inconsistent. I think Nikolao's better in the stand-up, better in the grappling. It's just, Tim Elliott could put off some batshit crazy stuff sometimes. On his day, he could beat almost anyone. But,
I'll say this. If it turns out that Nikolao, and I'm not saying that he has, you'll see where I'm going with this joke in a moment. If Nikolao has abused or hit any women who have access to Twitter, his chances of winning the fight go down drastically, because the last guy who had accusations of hitting and abusing women that had access to Twitter contacted Tim Elliott, and he very much beat the crap out of this person whilst letting this person know that he was passing on a message from this person and doing it for that reason. So
yeah, I don't think he's going to get to play those mind games this time. It's got to be Nikolao by decision for me.
Yeah, somehow I don't think Nikolao is of that ilk. You never know, but I'm not going to say he isn't. Nikolao by decision is also Sly's pick. Fortunately, Sly's gone a little bit mad on this next pick, so this should be fun. Sabina Mazo taking on Maria Agapova. Agapova, my apologies. Both 9-2 records. Obviously, Mazo is a little bit more established in the UFC. Agapova has had 2 fights in the UFC, looked incredible against Hannah Cifers in the first fight. And then she came up against, was it Shana Dobson or Sajara Eubanks?
No, Shana Dobson.
Shana Dobson, who isn't in the UFC anymore, was, I think, one of the biggest underdogs in betting underdogs in UFC history. And she got destroyed. She got absolutely destroyed. She looked all over the place. She got tired really, really quickly, completely out-grappled. And it kind of just sort of added that complete sort of air of, took away that air of invincibility from her. You then hear stories like she's had issues training at ATT. She had issues sparring. She had issues with her attitude and being focused and all this kind of stuff. I'm not overly impressed with Sabina Mazo, but she's given me more reasons to back her right now than from what I've seen from the 2 fights and what I've heard about Agapova. I'm struggling to say that fucking name.
Agapova, you got it.
Agapova.
Maria Agapova. Man, Mazo looked fucking dog shit in her last fight. No 2 ways about it. She looked awful. But I'm picking Mazo. I think Mazo is going to bounce back a little better than Agapova will. Both coming off that loss. Neither girl's lost often. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Also,
Agapova,
one of these girls lost to Alexis Davis, who had a good night that night, was on form, was motivated that night. The other lost to Shana Dobson. These losses are not made equal.
Yeah. And yeah, Agapova does seem like to be a bit rattled. She shook. So Mazo by decision. I gotta be honest, a little surprised that one's on the main card.
Yeah, I think they feel like they might have something with Agapova. Maybe. She was spectacular in her first fight. And that is a consideration. In fact, she was so spectacular that Sylvester's not just picking Agapova, but he's picking the same method of victory she got in that first fight, submission. We will see if he's correct. Somehow I feel like one of those things is going to be wrong, whether it's the fighter or the decision, but that's neither here nor there. And let's round up this main card. Phil Hawes taking on Deron Winn. Deron Winn, they call him Little DC. He's got the body type of Little DC.
He's going to look like he's in there with his dad.
He's just not DC. And I think he really, that height differential, I know that DC was 5'10" and he was fighting in the land of the giants, but I don't think 4, 5, 6 inch height disadvantage is as bad from 5'10" to 6'4" as it is from, like, I'm going to find out the exact height.
want to say
What's this here?
5'7", 5'6".
5'6" to
Yeah.
6 foot. It's such a small. You've got to be so close to grab onto people. It's so difficult. You've just got to be a chain wrestler constantly. That's very easy to predict. And Phil Hawes has looked really, really, really good. I mean, I kind of underestimated this guy, and he's beaten Kyle Dorcas, Imavov, and I remember when I was picking those fights, I picked against him because I thought this is just a knockout guy who's going to get tired if he doesn't get the win in the first round. And he's completely surprised me in 2 fights in a row. So I'd be an idiot not to think that Phil Hawes can survive the wrestling threat of Win and get a knockout here.
Yeah, well, Win's just not a middleweight. It's ridiculous. I'm going Megatron as well. I've already put my mind to this earlier on today when I had some time. Yeah, I went KO. Just want to double check that. I was worried that he might not be able to reach low enough to catch Win effectively in the head. But on balance, knees, so he'll probably even out. Pause by KO.
All right, let's shoot through these prelims. We've got Chris Gutierrez taking on Philip Colares, bantamweight division. I'm going to go with the younger man. I'm going to say Colares by decision.
Interesting. I'm going with Gutierrez. I think I also went decision. Yeah, Gutierrez by decision.
Just to confirm as well, Sly did pick Phil Hawes as well by knockout. He is picking Colares by sub, and you've gone Gutierrez by decision.
Oh, yes.
Jamie Pickett taking on Laureano Staropoli. Staropoli got fucked up in his last fight. Not fucked up, but just
he's
outsized.
Not a middleweight.
He's not a middleweight. Oh, fuck, this isn't middleweight again.
Yeah. Yeah, Jamie Pickett's definitely a middleweight.
That's right. This wasn't a short notice fight.
No, this is just what he's been doing.
Yeah, and that was the same with Roman Dolidze. This isn't going to go well for him. I'm picking Pickett. Do I go by knockout? Do I not go by knockout? I'm going to say knockout. He bounces back.
Yeah, Staropoli likes to engage. I don't think this one's going to go the distance. I'm going to pick it by KO as well.
He's on a 2-fight skid as well, Jamie Pickett. He needs this one back. I think he gets it.
And he will surely get it.
Alexander Romanov, Jared Vanderaa in the heavyweight division. Romanov coming off I can't remember the details. It was a very odd win.
He got kicked in the nuts in the 3rd round. I was certain that Juan Espino had won that fight, but
they called it
went to the judges
a minute into the 3rd. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still though, we don't give Romanov a lot of love because we're always banging on about how exciting the heavyweight to get in. And we talk about Sergey Spivak, Tom Aspinall, Chris Dorcas. We never talk about the Moldovan big man, but Alexander Romanov is a good fighter. I
agree. And he's fighting a Vanderaa who got manhandled by Sergey Spivak in his last fight. Definitely not his best performance. He's a really big guy, but I've got to go with Romanov. He's undefeated. He might have got a little lucky in that last fight, but I still think he's a threat, and I think he's going to pose a lot of the same problems that Sergey Spivak posed. Yeah,
Vanderaa did actually have the bounce back fight against Taffa, so he's coming on this one off that win. But yeah, Romanov.
Oh shit, I don't remember that fight. Oh fuck, that's right. Yeah, that was a good. I thought he lost that. I thought he lost.
He won.
No. I thought when I watched the fight that he lost that.
I'm pretty sure I picked Taffa on that one as well. I was really excited up until the judge's decision. Romanov, Espino was an awful matchup for him. But Vanderaa, he's very much going to just be let loose in the playpen. I think Romanov's going to sub him.
I'm going decision, and Sly is going Romanov by KO.
Fair enough.
Charles
could easily be ground and pound as well. I don't think it's a bad pick.
True. Charles Boston Strong Rosa taking on Damon Jackson. Damon Jackson had a pretty bad loss in his last fight. Let me just remind myself. Yeah, to Korea. This was a bad knockout, but he had the comeback win against Mirsad Bektic the fight before, where everyone was kind of like, holy shit, we didn't expect that. And he showed some toughness and some good submission skills. he won that fight with his grappling, and he's up against Boston Strong, whose thing is that he's good on the ground. So I kind of feel like Charles Rosa's got this. I'm going to say decision, because he hasn't really been locking in a lot of subs lately, but he has been able to control enough of the fight to get decision wins. So I think it's another decision win for Rosa.
Yeah, so I think the grappling's going to nullify each other a little bit. Rosa's just going to have the edge. Damon Jackson's fun, but Rosa doesn't make a lot of mistakes, and he's tough as all hell. So I think this is definitely Rosa decision.
Yeah, and Sly is also going Rosa, but he thinks that he is going to lock in that sub. He's going submission.
I hope he's right.
Same here. Next up after that, we have got Sam Hughes against Lupita Godinez. I can't remember if I've seen Lupita Godinez before. Oh, she lost to Jessica Penne.
Yeah.
Was that...
Close fight.
Yeah. But it was a little...
And his comeback fight.
So Sam Hughes has had a really rough time in the UFC. She took a short notice fight against Tecia Torres right when Tecia Torres was starting to be absolutely resurgent and looking like she's never looked before. And basically just got fucked up. Her eye got fucked. And she wanted the hell out of there. I think it got called after the first round by a corner or by the doctor. So she follows that up by having to fight Lokbune, and it's certainly not her best performance. She doesn't look great in that fight. I can't remember the Lupita Godinez fight, but Jessica Penne's good. A lot of people think she won that fight. I'm going to go with Godinez based on that. And the fact that I think sometimes it's a confidence thing. I think she had a very close decision loss that she'll feel she won and take things from and be motivated to win. Sam Hughes has had 2 bad losses when she was 5-1 and now she's 5-3. And I think it's 3 and out for her.
Yeah, man. Plus, Lupita beat her when they were amateurs. So I'm definitely going Godinez by decision.
I'll say decision. Sly went for Hughes. Of course he did.
Glutton for punishment.
By submission.
Okay. That's not happening, but okay.
Yeah. And then finally, Steve Garcia against Charlie Ontiveros in the lightweight division, which is very surprising because the last time we saw Charlie Ontiveros, he was losing to Kevin Holland at middleweight. So
yeah,
he's not just dropped 1 weight class, he's dropped 2. You and I were talking about this before we started recording.
Yeah, let me look it up.
Figure out why he's done that. I mean, if he can make the weight, it's genius. Like he's like if middleweight, if he's doing like the James Krause, where he's like, well, listen, I can show up on the day of the fight and make middleweight. I should be a welterweight, but I can cut down to lightweight if it gives me an advantage.
Yeah, it's a good advantage. And what we were talking about before was we were trying to think of another fighter that had dropped 2 weight classes for the following fight. I thought maybe Kenny Florian after the tough finale, but he actually had a fight against Karalexis at welterweight and Kit Cope. Sam Stout's a lightweight. So yeah, he had 2 fights at welterweight before dropping down. I was way out of my way out of line on that one. Completely wrong.
So obviously we're recording this earlier in the week, so we haven't seen the weigh-ins. We don't know if he actually makes the weight. So obviously this entire like giving him props for this goes out the window if he weighs in 7 pounds over. But if he can make the weight healthily, I have to feel that he's going to have a significant size advantage. Surely you'd think so. Let's have a look at the stats. We don't have slides here.
Garcia's not, he's not short. Garcia's pretty big.
Well, do you want to hear something funny? So this is the UFC like page that pops up on Google from the UFC website with information. I don't think you can quite see it on my phone.
Nah, it's not.
But this is the height, weight, and reach difference. I'm going to do the weight last because this is the weight that they've got them listed as, right? Okay. Age 29 to 30, height, Steve Garcia 183 to 188 for Charlie Ontiveros. That's pretty tall for lightweight. Reach for Steve Garcia is 190 centimeters. For Charlie Ontiveros, 198 centimeters. So bit of an advantage in reach there. Here's the weight difference. They've got Steve Garcia's weight listed at 70.3 kilograms. And Charlie Ontiveros, 83.9. Now, obviously, that's the weight of the different classes, but the very fact that they haven't even changed that, despite the fact that the both listed as a lightweight fight, tells you everything you need to know about the size differential there's going to be here.
I mean, yeah, 2 inches in height, 3 inches in reach is good. It's sizable. On Tavaros, though, I'm actually looking up. He only weighed in 182.5 for the Holland fight. He was fighting regionally at like welterweight. I don't think he's going to have like a real significant size advantage over Garcia. He's going to have the reach for sure. But I mean, I've only seen the guy once. It didn't go well. It didn't last long. I really don't know what to make of
Holland,
Tavaros.
though, man.
Yeah. I was against Kevin Holland. Who you picking then? I'm
going on
Garcia.
Tavaros. I'm going on Tavaros by KO.
Fair enough. I'm going Garcia by KO. I don't know why I wrote KO earlier, but I clearly thought about it a fair bit. I mean, you know, I've only seen the fight against Luis Pena. I don't think he looked that bad. Yeah, Garcia KO. What's Sly saying?
Sly is saying on Tavaros decision.
Man, I think I'm really different from both of you this week.
Yeah, we got a lot of different back and forth. You and me,
I'm out of battery.
You're running out of battery.
Yeah.
We did it though. We made it through the picks. So well done.
Bye, Dave.